Welcome to the Momentum Lifestyle Podcast, where every Monday we interview an inspiring, educational, and entertaining guest to help you build confidence, find balance, and live a life of impact. We'd like to thank our sponsor today, Be Spunky. Now, Blake, Janoah, and myself have been using their Reboot product for well over 6 months now, and it has been life-changing. I found myself recovering faster, having way more energy throughout the day, and honestly feeling just more jacked up as a man. And this is because Reboot is clinically formulated to support healthy male hormone levels, providing stress relief, improved strength and stamina, enhanced drive, and overall well-being. Be Spunky Reboot contains a proprietary blend of 10 natural and organic herbs and active ingredients that are renowned for helping men to enhance physical and cognitive performance, improve stamina, energy, and endurance, optimize testosterone levels, support healthy reproductive function, support cardiovascular function, relieve stress, mild anxiety, irritability, relieve tiredness, fatigue, support healthy sleep patterns, and support healthy body weight. So as you can see, it is a must-have product for all men. So head to their website, bespunky.com.au. That's bespunki.com.au, and use the code MOMENTUM to receive 10% off all Be Spunky products.
And welcome back to part 2 with Blake, Dylan, and Janoah. G'day, boys. How are we all?
Let's go again.
What was your name again?
Guys,
Good to be here. Good to be back.
Mate,
Good
part
to be
2.
here.
Yeah,
Are you here, Blake? Are you here, or are you on your phone?
I was
Or are you
writing some
here?
notes. Okay,
Gotcha. Okay, cool. You take some notes, mate. That's fine.
I was prepping.
Janoah and I will talk.
You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Blake, how have you been, mate? How's your 12 months been? We went over on the last podcast our 3 wins, and this is part 2. So we're going over our 3 challenges, mate. Run us through the last 12 months, because I think for the most part, the 3 of us try our best to show up externally and share what we're going through, but it's probably pretty difficult to do that in an accurate and transparent way on social media. And we, one of our values here at Momentum is vulnerability. But we, the 3 of us could probably practice that a little bit more in terms of how we show up on social media and how people view us externally. So I would say the average viewpoint is that our last 12 months have been pretty good for the 3 of us. You 2 have been in Byron the whole time. I jet set it off to America and came back to Byron, and we've been drinking cocktails by the beach and, having a great time. But that is not the case, is it? So would love to delve deep on your 3 struggles, mate. And Janoah and I will go after that. But hit us with what you've been going through, mate, over the last 12 months.
Yeah, well, as I said last time, the last 12 months has by far been the biggest and best 12 months. So from a struggle point of view, it's all relative, like our struggles. And this year, probably from a struggle point of view, has been the easiest to manage, I reckon, ever. And in saying that, there's still been a couple of big, pieces that have made this year at times more challenging than others. And probably the first one, which is a bit of a clusterfuck, which I'm kind of working through at the moment, is social media. And I've been pretty forward in my beliefs, my opinions, my choices. And I'm not really one to kind of hold back in that. And that in itself has caused a lot of chaos on social media, some changing in dynamics of friendships, some kind of, keyboard warriors on social media. And what I'm working through at the moment is my approach to it. So I don't necessarily think my opinion is going to change. I'm pretty sure that my opinion is going to stay the same going forward as to what I believe is going on and my choices, but how I show up. And, one of the things I've realized is that I have fueled a lot of the friction that's been caused on social media. So I'm mindful of that, but that's probably been the biggest one. And the amount of, keyboard warriors and friendship dynamics that have changed over the last 12 months.
knowing obviously you quite well, and then also knowing how you can be perceived in social media, because obviously, you know, it's quite, we always have a bit of a joke around how back in the day, you know, you used to get on in your car, used to be like, you'd go into the supermarket and someone would be rude to you, so you'd like pull your phone up, you're like, guys, you know what, like, and you'd just, you know, and I used to fucking lose it. I'd like, he'd have Blake's daily rant, he'd be in his car with his seatbelt on, and it's like, you know, have it out against for something that happened in his life, which we joke about now. And obviously you've come a long way since then, but there obviously still is a level of, what's the word? You can sort of polarize people in some of the approach. But what I'd love to hear from you, because I understand this is like a lot of stuff that you share. Obviously, maybe the delivery is where you're working on, but what's your intention by sharing the stuff that you share? Because I know there actually is, you have a greater intention than how it comes across, if that makes sense. Because I see both, and I hear people say, "Yeah, fucking, you know, Blake the blah blah blah." I'm like, I understand the intention behind it, but it can get lost a bit in the delivery. Have you sort of got around what the intention actually is by you sharing a lot of your stuff and the angle that you take?
Well, my approach is the big bit, and this is like a fucking, like, the more work I'm doing with my coach at the moment, the more I'm realizing that it's so many more layers than I realized. So, you know, I did a quantum collapse on the feminine last year, which was really big. I think the work that I'm doing now is the biggest work I've ever done. And by the time this podcast release, I will probably still be working through it. Like, it's twice a week at the moment, working through it. So at the core, my delivery aside, at the core is for me to have people ask more questions, and my passion around people taking control of their health, thinking for themselves, and following what is true to them, not necessarily like true to big pharma, mainstream media, whatever it may be. So what's clear is my delivery's been well off at times, and at times I've come across as superior, which we all know no one's fucking superior, we know that, so that's another level. But at times I've been quite harsh, judgmental, and quite almost what's the word I'm looking for, I guess brash almost in my delivery, in order to almost evoke emotion, which when I look at it, definitely hasn't been the right way. Like, you can put something out with your opinion and not, you know, turn it into a negative, which you two do a lot better than I do. So it's so multi-layered. I've worked through 3 or 4 layers already, but literally, I reckon there's another 10 or 11 to go. So the big thing that I keep coming back to is knowing someone's deep intention, and then often you can get rid of the noise that's on top of it, and also knowing that everything we do and don't do stems from somewhere. So, you know, it's clear that I've got a problem with authority. I've had a problem with authority most of my life. Literally, I can remember from like year 1 and 2 moments where I struggled with authority. So, you know, that's one element of multi-layered that I'm working through at the moment, which has not necessarily worked in my favor with some of my delivery through social media.
And so what is the actual challenge in it? Is it the challenge of going through the process of uncovering the layers, or was it the challenge of that brought, like, okay, I'm now aware of it, and that kind of mirrored back things in myself that I wasn't happy with, that I thought I'd work through? Like, what was the actual struggle or the challenge in it?
For the last 18 months, like for probably 10 to 15 years, I've had a problem with mainstream media, big pharma, and government. And then the last 18 months has brought those 3 together like we've never seen before. So I've been in a heightened state, which you guys know because you've seen it every day, most days for 18 months. And what Janoah referred to at the start is the old me would have been ranting every single day. So at least while I'm somewhat charged by what's going on, there's a level of grounding that doesn't have me rant every single day. So that's a positive, and that's a few steps in the right direction. The next case is really to be able to unpack all that, because to be fair, you can't say that all of big pharma is corrupt and fucked. Like, there's so many good things that big pharma do. You can't say every single person in government is an absolute dog. There's plenty of people that are doing good things. And, mainstream media every now and then say something that's got some truth in it. So for me, what I've done is I've blanketed those. And I've got friends in all three industries. And, they're some of the people that I pissed off. So that's part of my delivery of not going mainstream media as a whole, a dogs, big pharma, whatever it may be. So, authority, anarchy's come up in some of the work that I'm doing and how that's shown up. People that I really have rage around, like the Dan Andrews, and what is under that is another piece that I've started to work through in terms of this weedy gimp boy that I want to fucking flatten his nose on his face and what causes that type of rage. So it's layer upon layer, and none of it's about them. It's just what they represent for me, and on a deep level where it all stems from.
Yeah, and that's probably the first time I've heard you say, even like, not everyone in big pharma is a dog. Not everyone, like, that's the first time I've ever heard you say that, to be honest. So it does seem like you're making some good progress, mate, with the work that you're doing. And
that hurt as well when he said that.
I could feel it. I could feel it.
Just working through it, boys. Just working through it.
Maybe that's something that you do today on your story. You just get on and just say those three things and then log off for the day.
Yeah, look, it's I'm not going to, but it's a process of when I feel that I've unpacked this fully and somewhat healed from it, I probably will feel like apologizing to people in those industries who I've unintentionally attacked because they're doing a great job. They're doing, the best they can with the resources they've got, whatever it may be, and they're good people. Like, I've pigeonholed everyone, which is poor form. And for all three of us, the work that we do, whenever we're so narrow-minded in terms of our way of thinking, which I have been around these three organizations, you're not really there for growth. You're there to, go into your bias that you already believe, and, just to kind of blanket everyone. So that's something for me to work through and get the bottom of, and then, potentially mend some of those relationships as well.
Well, before we move on to your second challenge for the year, mate, do you want to give the people one resource that you can recommend that will help them to start to question the system? Is there one or two things that you can give us? Because if your intention is to help people critically think, is there something that you've got that you can put out into the world that will help?
That's a loaded question, and you know that I could really fucking load up here, but I won't. So the simplest thing for me that I've always thought is the system, whatever you want to quantify as that, getting the results you want. All right. So you look at the fucking food pyramid. Oh, follow the food pyramid. Look at us. We're the most fat fucks we've ever been. Question the food pyramid. Look at the marriage system. And again, I'm not saying what's right or wrong, but 60% of marriages end in divorce. Is that a really good return rate? Look at the way the majority of people are doing life. Are they happy, fulfilled? No. So why the fuck are you following them? That's what I get you to ask. Like, ask more questions around whatever, system, belief you've bought into. And is it really getting the results that you want? And start there, and then, take it where you want to go.
Good way to finish up on your challenge. Challenge numero dos, brother.
The second one would be, it's almost ironic, but the second one would be the amount of people that we've got around us and the amount of times that I felt like I wasn't connecting enough with them. From someone who 3 years ago was feeling super disconnected and lonely and not necessarily on the same page. I feel like right now, between obviously, momentum and, my own coaching and business and the amazing people we've got in Byron, it feels like there's going to be fucking a good 200 amazing people that we've got around us that I really want to connect with and get to know deeper and get to know more intimately. And I just don't feel like I've got the bandwidth for it. And for me, there's this internal dialogue of like, dude, he's more introverted than you realize. And, almost kind of at times think about you two boys of like, you guys are always looking to mingle. And I'm like, fuck, sometimes I just want to read a book for like 8 hours straight and not talk to anyone. And then at the same time, I want to go and like, talk and connect with everyone through, my stuff and through Momentum and through Byron Bay and, through my triathlon group, and just get to know them more properly. So I'd almost say it's a daily battle, but, reminding myself of like, what is true to you, because you do love, being antisocial a lot of the time and just reading and doing work and, still getting those hits as well. So that's been my biggest challenge, which, at times daily, definitely weekly, has played on my mind just about every week this year.
It's an interesting one as well, because what come off the back of that, because I can empathise with a similar sort of thing, is then a level of like guilt to yourself, right, for feeling like you're sort of letting other people go, and there's what their expectations are of how you're supposed to show up. Is 15 minutes of Blake being social a day enough with people, or do you have to give a bit? Do you have to give a bit? Give it a bit more. How does it look like? What's your process for figuring out, like, even structuring, like, you structure time in now for people? Because obviously when you're naturally in your thing, going from experience as well, like in your zone, I'd say your default would go to doing what the fuck you want to do and read and blah blah, and then you get ahead and like, oh shit, how do you structure it so you can make sure you don't forget the people or doing that stuff?
Yeah, it's hard because, I mean, you boys do it better than me in that you boys are more flexible in how you do your Monday to Friday. Because for me, I look at that when you guys go play tennis, and there's a part of me that's envious, but there's also a part of me that knows I wouldn't actually enjoy it if it was, between kind of working hours, Monday to Friday. And that's because I honestly love reading and I love working and I love the sense of getting shit done. I love that more than being social personally. And that's not to say that's right or wrong. That's just what I love. So while I'm slightly envious, I'm also like, I also need to come back to going, dude, you actually like wouldn't enjoy it as much as you do. And in the back of your mind, you'd be like wanting to probably be at home, plugging away, reading, whatever it might be. So it's that internal dialogue. And even for, Shani, like, she gets it as well of like, I mean, you boys have seen, I don't want to be interrupted during the day. I don't give a fuck who it is, like, even like, obviously she's my number one. And if there's one person that can interrupt me, it's her. But she also knows that I don't like to be interrupted. I want to get as much done in the day as I can. I love that sense of accomplishment. I love the sense of staying focused and getting shit done and, having some kind of impact. So that's the balance for me. And it's really working out if it's in my head or if it's in my body. So answering your question of like thinking that I should show up a certain way, or looking at a phone call and going, do I want to talk to this person? Have I got bandwidth? So part of me, after you boys brought it to my attention a few weeks ago, is I'll probably speak to someone each day now. And that's almost like my little lunch break of like stopping for a few hours, or actually definitely not a few hours, stopping for 45 minutes to an hour, calling my brother, calling my best mate, calling people that aren't in Byron and checking in on them. And, Jay, obviously we're different in terms of our human design. And I think Dills, you and I are different as well. Like I can chug away for hours and hours and hours. And I really do enjoy that. Whereas you boys, go hard and focus for a few hours and then you need a break. Like that doesn't work for me. And I actually carry resentment toward people that interrupt me during the day. Like even if it's a 30-second message, if it's not important, because I'm working away, I look at my phone, it's not just 30 seconds. You lose focus and you lose track. So, a big part for me, whether it's phone away, airplane mode, 4 hours of, staying focused, whatever it may be. And, you guys know me well enough to know that, parts of me struggle to stay focused as it is. So not only am I kind of beating myself up at times about, wanting to be even more focused when I'm on, and then obviously switching off when I'm off, but I carry resentment if someone's kind of breaking that thread for me as well.
And also that highlights the importance of us as mates. And I just want to get clear. So I'm on number 2 now. Shani number 1. When did that happen? That was all I took from that.
I know. We probably should have had a formal conversation about this.
to have a level of awareness and respect for our design as human beings, how we operate, and our values, right? So I know that for you, it's growth and you're a generator, and you like to get up and you do your fucking same routine, and you like to just tick and churn, right? While for me, it's I'll go in for a couple of hours, but my highest value is more around freedom. So like, I want to work for hours, I want to go play tennis, you know, and then Deal's be more of a projector. And I think you're also pretty heavy on the freedom component. You're pretty more similar to me in terms of we go in, need to be stimulated, then we fuck off and go. And so having a level of appreciation and awareness for that, for each other, because without knowing that, I'd be sitting there going, fuck's sake, Blake, like just, you know, have a chat to me, or you're sitting there judging us, going, these fucking lazy cunts, you know, that kind of stuff, when it's like, this is just a different way of how we operate and get the most out of our days and what we value. It's really, really important to get your head around.
It also brings up an interesting point as I'm hearing you talk around, similar to build off of what Jay just said, but also something that I've been thinking about a lot lately is like cultivating friendships for you that, well, for all of us, but that love you for you, not for like who I think you could be or who I think you are, or like your potential. It's like, no, like I can still even though I love like that Jay and I play tennis twice a week, we, you know, I'll see him down at the coffee shop probably almost every day, have a little chat with him, but also like, cool, I can still appreciate the friendship that you and I have, Blake, in terms of like, cool, we, you know, I love you and I love our friendship for what it is, and I don't compare it, or I don't get caught in the trap of comparing it with other friendships that I have in my life. It's like, cool, I can love Blake for the churner that he is, for the fucking hard worker that can give me 30 minutes on a Friday afternoon and that's it. You know, I can still love him for that. Yeah. Rather than going, oh, fuck, like I need more. It's like, no, cool. Like I'm getting more from other people so I can maintain this social connection and have a really strong social connection because that's who you are. And
well, the other, to add to that, Deals, as well, is like most of us are in our egocentric mind of thinking it's all about us in terms of what's happening. So, you know, someone could, if they're in their kind of in that ego, go, oh, you know, he doesn't like me, or he hasn't got enough time for me, not even considering me and the way that I show up in friendship. So it's easy to take it personally when I might be, you know, you might call me during work hours and I'm super short. I don't want to fucking talk to anyone. It's not that I'm a bad human. I just prefer to be working, studying, learning, researching. And then, you know, if I've got an hour break and, you know, I'm better on the weekends now. And this is something that I've worked on for years. Jay knows how much more stiff and rigid I used to be. So I don't know what this conversation will look like in 2 years and whether I'll change. But right now, that's what I feel the best doing. Churning through work, leaving the weekends pretty open to being social. And, you know, Jay and I lived together. He's seen me for 18 months. I don't even talk to him during the day, really, unless we have a break for lunch. And we're fucking 4 meters away from each other. Like, that's just the way that I operate. So instead of getting caught in your own mind of like, oh, you know, here's me trying to project what I think our friendship should look like, or here's me taking it personally because, you know, Blake only calls me once a fortnight, just like understand each other and start to learn about each other and what makes people tick. Like, I know you two love being more social than I am. I know that you two are probably more, you know, extroverted than I am. Who's to say what the fuck's right or wrong? Just an understanding of each other.
Yeah, I'm definitely right. So, so what is your third challenge, brother?
It's probably an extension of that. And, you know, it's, I think, probably one of the top 3 challenges we find in momentum. And it's just the balancing act, which, you know, I know for all of us at different times this year has been a struggle. And that's it for me, you know, because I am more introverted than, you know, most people, realizing that I actually do like a lot of time on my own. And then you put that together with the fact that you know, we're on momentum each week, you know, our 10-week program, we're on momentum, our 12-month, I'm on Tribe, my other program, Limitless, every week. And then I've got one-on-ones. Like, that's a lot of people for me as an introvert who likes to spend more time alone. that's before my social life even begins. That's before my relationship even begins. That's before, touching base with family and people that aren't in Byron Bay. So it's been that dance, and you add to that training for an Ironman, which really is a part-time job. Like right now I'm up to about 20 hours a week, and then obviously you're nurturing, for me, the most important thing, which is my relationship. So it's almost every week of like jigging, what works, what doesn't. And, Jay and I went away, can't remember, it may have been June, July, to Noosa. And, it was then that I realized, fuck, dude, I don't want to do like one-on-one clients on a Monday or Friday. So I, brought them into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then when Shani and I went away a few weeks ago, I was like, fuck, I've got to get off social media again and really clean up my relationship to that. So that happens. And, we often speak about life by design or life by default. And, right now I've created the best life that I've ever created. And it was somewhat of a visual that I had 3 or 4 years ago when I was in Sydney, of living in, the Byron Bay, or living in Newcastle, because I stayed in Newcastle at the time, and running, life and business online. So it is the best it's ever been. And I'm still at times struggling to know what that balance is. Jay and I have spoken, and I'm sure you and I will speak as well about what our individual goals look like next year. I can't do more than 10 one-on-one sessions a week next year. I don't have enough me time if I do. And obviously I won't have a fucking part-time job in terms of training for an Ironman. I'll cut that back a bit. So I'll probably get another, 5 to 7 hours back. But it's just been a balancing act and trying to dance with that for 12 months, really.
And it does come back to touching in with your like gut or your intuition or whatever you want to call, like what feels good. But even saying what feels good, it's like, well, what feels good is like getting up at 8 o'clock and moseying on down to the cafe and having a coffee and then moseying back home. Like that feels really good, but I'm not going to get anything done if that's what I'm doing. So it is really difficult to find what's the right balance. And it's not what's the right balance for everyone. It's what's the right balance for me, back to your first challenge and your first point. So, I mean, what are the key tools, advice that you've got that has helped you understand yourself better in terms of what you need from a balance point of view?
I mean, that's you said it right there. And this is where I don't think most people get it. And obviously it's a massive thing for us with momentum, is you need to know you, because otherwise you end up designing your life around, the fucking next door neighbor, that person that you idolize, the person that's making squillions, whatever it may be. Like, I know my values. I know when I work best. I know when I don't. Like, after 2 p.m. in terms of anything creative, it's not really going to happen. Mondays at the moment, because my training's the lightest on Mondays, I can bang through a big day on a Monday, knowing that I haven't got any one-on-one clients, whatever it may be. Whereas if I was to do some work on Saturday and Sunday, if I'm going for a fucking 5-hour bike ride and then someone wants me to do something creative, no chance. Like, I'm an absolute fucking mess after that, or a 2-hour run. So Saturday and Sunday at the moment, especially when there's a big build towards, this Ironman in 7 weeks, it's almost just like a bit of life admin, like catching up on emails, catching up on the real simple things that don't create or don't need juice. And then, the other days are where I really kind of power through it. So that's also just been constantly adjusting. I know you guys have done the same. As my training loads increased, by 3 to 4 hours a week, which really takes its toll on the body, I also just need to manage where, what type of work goes on what days. And Monday for me, Jay and I were kind of powering through on Monday. Monday for me, I just wrote, every EDM for us for the rest of the year, just like bang, gone, done. I don't have to think about it now as well. So that's just the dance that constantly got to work through.
Have you picked up anything, Janoah, from Blake and how he's managed balance in his life?
The simple part for me is how there's how much of a level of structure there is, and it's pre-planning. Like, he'll know what his hours in the day are for, because often as well, and this is what I used to struggle with in the past, was I sort of wake up like, oh, what shall I do now? Shall I do a bit of this work, that work, and having it, preset so when you wake up, from his whatever 6 till 8:30, 9 o'clock is training time. Maybe it's 6 till 8 is training time, an hour's reading time. Then it's half. And this sounds quite structured, but it gives you somewhere to work towards. Otherwise, you're sort of the whole time going, oh, you can get pulled too hard in the direction, and then it's like, okay, cool. It's from 9:30 till 11 is creative writing time, and then he blocks in all his clients as much as he can from like lunchtime onwards till 5 or 6. And having that clean structure, so you know what you're doing when and where, also is really, really helpful in terms of direction. Because I know the difference when I haven't done that. I get pulled into replying to fucking emails and get pulled over here, and I feel like a coffee now, whatever. And there's not enough of that balance going on. And it really comes down to getting clear on, what do you like value and what do you feel like doing? But also what's moving the needle forward? Like where are you fucking heading in your business and life, and what are you doing? So where's the balance of what's moving the needle forward for you? So I think that there's some key parts there, is that structure the days, like blocking out your diary. This is for this time, this time, this time, this time, with a bit of, and that takes a lot of the mental fatigue and bandwidth of deciding where to go, and the ability to be pulled out of it as well. But then also balancing that, what's actually moving the needle forward, and what is moving forward for me? What am I working towards here? And is this next hour right now, this hour that I'm spending, is it moving me that way? Or am I just spending my time floundering around doing something else?
And how challenging for both of you, if it's been challenging at all, seeing the different ways that each of you work? Like Blake, Janoah, when Blake's pumping out 4, 5, 6 hours on a Monday in a row, and you're doing 2 and then taking a little break and then coming back and doing 2, how much does that play in your mind of like, oh fuck, I should be working more? Like, look at Blake, like, fuck, if Blake's doing that much work, I should be doing that much work.
Yeah, it is challenging, because like, I remember at first, before I really understood, and that ties into the whole hustle mentality, right? I remember when I was back working for other businesses, and you talk to other people, and it'd always be like, yeah, I'm stressed, I'm fucking, there'd be some
badge of honor.
It'd almost be, there'd be pride in saying, yeah, I'm punching out 14-hour days. And then when I remember saying once, I was going through a patch where I didn't have to work that hard, and I was like, yeah, I finished at 4, went to the beach. I was actually I could feel the judgment, like, what do you actually do? And I'm like, hang on a second, isn't that the ideal scenario, that I'm knocking off at 4 o'clock and on the beach? But I actually felt judged, and I actually felt like I was finding myself trying to find more unneeded work to do, replying to emails to make myself feel like I'm busier. And so I've experienced that working, in businesses, and then talking to friends who are in, back in corporate. And now that I work for myself, I was like, I got to get back to what is the life I want to create, and stop comparing. Because I can easily look at it and go, fuck, he's just sitting in his little den office in the corner. Like, he can do that. I can't sit in an office for 4 hours and just churn out stuff. I get about 90 minutes in 2 hours. And so there was a period there where I was like, looking at it going, oh fuck, I felt guilty for wanting to go to the cafe and read for an hour and then come back. And then I sort of stepped to go, no. When I understood even just our operating system and how we work, it's like, he works different to me. And I still get my shit done in a different way. And that's great. And so it took me a moment to actually stop the comparison and go, yeah, this is how I operate, and also get clear on, this is the life I want to live. I don't want to be a fucking churner who pumps out 12-hour days. It's not what I'm here to do. It's not the life I'm creating. If I can be sharp and productive in my 90 to 2-hour blocks, that's my juice. So yeah, it was a period that was challenging, but now it's a lot more solid.
I think as well, and that's, kind of ties in with what we said. Like, I don't know where Jay is now, but the last time we spoke about it, I think for him, his ideal week would probably be between 15 and 25 hours, and mine would probably be 25 to 35. Like, that's what I enjoy. And, if you go into archetypes a little bit, Jay's probably more magician in terms of, he can make shit happen in 90-minute blocks and do some really cool shit with his kind of magic, whereas I would probably be more that kind of warrior energy who really enjoys and thrives off the, like, not like a real hard grind. I think a real hard grind might be 80, 90, 100 hours. Like, I don't think the three of us enjoy or even envy that in any way, shape or form. But I do enjoy that kind of more grindy-ish. Not obviously, this is obviously relative to the world that we live, as opposed to your bankers or whatever it might be. But that would be how our operating systems work best, at least at this stage.
Love that. Really good. I think
All
I'll
right, you go next, mate. I went
yeah, I
first
think
last time. You went last. Get in, boy.
My big, yeah, I've had a really interesting 12 months where, it sounds like I'm reverberating a little bit about of what Blake said. Really great 12 months, wouldn't change much in the last 12 months, but fuck, I've been thrown in the ringer a couple of times and been smacked around by Mike Tyson, it feels like. So, especially as of late, in the last 12 months, I've been through two breakups, um, and two pretty intense relationships. So, 12 months ago, working through that, I was really happy with how I worked through it. I spent time alone up in Northern California by myself, and the only contact I had with people was you two, and then my other clients and the Momentum crew, and really forced myself to look inward. And then coming off of this breakup, it's been just another challenge in leaning into myself and really coming to understand where I'm at in my personal life, and the mirror that was held up for me in my last two relationships, but specifically my last relationship, really did highlight the ego in me and how I'd been showing up in ego, um and how, like, all my previous stories and my previous relationships was a surface level amount of responsibility of, like, yeah, okay, I kind of get it. And yeah, okay, there's some stuff that I can work on, and like, cool, okay, a little bit of just almost putting lip service to it. And then this last one, it's been more like okay, well, she is amazing and she's ticking every box you've got, but you're not there, or you're not ready. Dylan, this is on you. And it always has been, is my point. It's always has been, and I've never been able to see it. And so specifically the last 3-4 weeks, so by the time this comes out, 2-3 months, it's been just a massive process of looking inwards at all the sticky places that I haven't wanted to look for a while, that I didn't even know were there. So that breakup's been really challenging, and trying to walk my talk has been a challenging experience, but one that I've lent into and am enjoying. And yeah, it's been heavy, but it's been really juicy. Like, I've really enjoyed the experience as much as I've not enjoyed the experience.
The thing with it, dude, is, and we've spoken about this before, is your three biggest teachers, or your three biggest triggers are going to be your three biggest teachers. And that generally, based on what a lot of the, psychs say, will be your partner, kids, and your business. So you've essentially had two out of the three. Which you did a great job of owning where you're at. What's been some of the biggest, because they're just a mirror for you, and you either find yourself deflecting and defending and getting in ego, and it's all on them, whatever it might be, or you just like see it as a blessing, albeit a really painful, blessing at the same time. What has that relationship mirrored back to you over the last 5 to 6 months in particular?
I would say it's mirrored back the work that I need to do on myself, and to be more specific on what is the work that I need to do on myself. It's probably that self-worth, that self-love piece, and really loving myself and knowing that I am worthy of love. That's definitely at the very core, that probably 5 or 6 things would be feeding into, that I do need to address those 5 or 6 things, but that would be sitting at the core, is this lack of self-worth, lack of self-love, this lack of deservingness. And with the work that I'm doing with Pixie and my coach, is something that I've noticed over the past year, especially because I've been doing this work that we're doing, the work that I'm doing with young boys, it's people love to say like, oh, you're such a good human, like you're doing such amazing work. And like my least favorite compliment, like I fucking hate it, is when people say I'm a good human. I'm like, no, like it fucking fires me up. It gets to me, it gets under my skin. I'm like, no, I'm not a fucking good human. I'm a piece of shit. You know, like it's fucking the self-talk and the self-loathing is real deep. And when you bring that into a relationship, it doesn't matter about the other person. You can be dating an angel, you know, a literal angel. And if you think that you are a piece of shit, like that relationship has an expiry date, you know, until you move through that core belief system. So really, that's what it really mirrored back to me, was just my inability to receive love. There's parts to it, but like when you can really sit in it and really receive love, like, you know, that's a really vulnerable place to be in, because you're saying, okay, here's all of me, here I am. And that's fucking intense, and it's scary, and it's a really vulnerable place to be in. And when I'm not giving myself that love, you know, the opening up process is kind of, it's not all there, and it's done with manipulation, and it's done quiet. It's, you know, there's just so much to it that's like, yeah, I'll open up here, but there's parts over here that I'm keeping like, to do a full fucking open, it's fucked. And I'll share, you know, I was having a really cool conversation last night with this tantric worker, and talks about, you know, you can't hide in sexual energy. You know, sexual energy is the feminine, and you can't hide in that space. Like it shines a light on everything. You just can't hide from it. And it's the real powerful force of creation, of chaos, of the unknown, of the feminine. And, you know, me and my ex-partner intentionally went into that space, that sexual energy of connection and showing up. And I lasted 5 minutes before I started crying. And once I started crying, I lasted probably 20 seconds in that space before I fucking bolted out of there. And I really, one of the things that I do pride myself on is my ability to say yes to uncomfortable things, and to lean in and go, okay, I really fucking don't want to do this, but let's do it. Like I really pride myself on that. And in that space, I was like, nah, get me the fuck out of here. Like that was by far the biggest sitting in the fire experience I've ever had. And it literally burnt me up. Like that was a burning up of me. And I was like, no, I'm out of here. So yeah, that it is, you know, back to your point around why would you follow what other people do? One of the biggest realization out of my last relationship was like, most people, 60% of people who go through divorces, most people don't understand the commitment that is necessary for a relationship. They don't understand the responsibility that you need to take into a relationship. Like they just don't understand. It's the biggest decision that you'll make. You know, that's you and Shani have been dating for what? And she's your number one, you know. It's like you've known Janoah for 15, 20 years, you know. See you, mate, you're down the pecking order now, because that's how it happens though, right? Your relationship becomes that number one relationship in your life. So that's your number one relationship in your life. That needs to be a fucking solid relationship, you know? And so that the learning coming out of it was like, yeah, I'm so not ready for that. And there's a bit of shame attached to that, because it's a cliche, you know, it's not you, it's me, and I'm not ready for commitment. And it was like, but a really genuine acceptance of like, no, I'm so fucking not ready for this level of commitment. Like I'm not ready. And really coming to terms with that and accepting that was big.
I'd argue that this experience now that you're going through would be one of the most common ones out there, whether people realize it or not, in terms of true lack of self-worth and ability to receive love for the self. It's, if you're not able to truly love yourself for all the shadow and the nitty gritty and bits and pieces that you are not going to be able to fully give or receive in a relationship either. it's big. What would you say? What are you doing now? Like, what are your baby steps? If it's really simplified, what are your baby steps? Self-love, like, and acceptance and all that work. The little, not going to a tantra work necessarily, but what are the initial, little steps that you're going through?
It starts with just a better understanding of myself. So, I've definitely preached about journaling like for years, and I've logically known the benefits of journaling, but I would not be able to be where I am right now in terms of, I feel like I've managed to go through the hardest part in the last 12 months over the last 3 weeks. It's been really difficult. It's been really heavy. So many emotions. I'm getting smacked around left, right, and center. But I've continued to show up and I've been okay. And I put that down to journaling. I really do put that down to journaling in terms of my practice now is really solid. I used to just go, okay, I need to journal and I need to get one page, and I'd find my way down to the bottom of the page. I'd shut the book and I'm like, cool, I've tick that box, done my journaling for the day. Now it's like I'm sitting down, writing it out. The emotions are flowing. I'm a lot better at writing because I've been practicing for a while now, but it's all coming down, and I'll spend 30, 45 minutes and I can't start my day without it now, because I know even if I've got things to do and there's important things in business, I'll push that back, because Blake said on the last podcast, business problems are really life problems wrapped up in your business, I think was the quote, right? And it's so true. So if I can work through all my life shit, I might have to push a deadline back or be late on something, but like the next time I'll be good. Like I can solve the root cause of the problem through looking at my life. So journaling has been massive. In terms of specifically, how do I love myself more? No idea, man. No idea. I'm trying to give myself credit and journal out like all that I am. I'm trying not to focus on all that I've done, because then that's assigning my value to what I do rather than just assigning my value to who I am, and that being enough in just who I am. But it's that's the difficult process that I'm working through right now. Logically, I kind of get it. Logically, I can kind of say, do this, do that. But honestly, I have no idea. That's my piece that I need to figure out is love. I know that forgiveness is in there, forgive yourself and move on. But for me, which might not come to a shock to you two boys, I'm fully understanding my ego and the extent of my ego now. And my ego doesn't allow me to forgive myself, because I'm meant to be better than everyone else. I'm meant to be better. So I'm above forgiveness. I'm not allowed to make mistakes because I am Dylan fucking Ruse, and it's like figuring out that that's what drives, like figuring out that that's been under the surface has been like, what the fuck? Like that's like, yeah, like if you boys could see my journaling, and when I let I'll give my ego permission to start journaling. So I'll be like, okay, what is my ego needs a voice. It needs to be heard. So let's get that down. Mate, fucking hell. Ego is huge, bro. It's insane. Someone needs to put it down. Like someone needs to shoot my ego.
I know some ceremonies you can do, mate, that will support you in that process.
Yeah, I think I'll be doing that.
The thing that just stood out to me, and it stood out about 5 minutes ago when you said it, was remembering that where there's a charge is a massive opportunity for growth. And where you have your strongest charge is in people saying you're a good human. So what you were just talking about then is very much your persona, your everything built on the doing, as opposed to in the being. So in that itself is going to be an amazing process for you to go through in terms of, fuck, I'm just good as is. Like I'm good enough, I'm lovable, whatever it may be. Because the other thing that you come back to, which is so common and amazing for us to even consider before we enter a relationship, and it fucking blows my mind how many or how few people think about doing the work on themselves before they enter the relationship, is we'll project out onto other people what we're unhealed in ourselves. So, for example, what that might look like is if you feel you need to be perfect to be loved, then don't be surprised if you're projecting out where they're imperfect or whatever it may be as well. So it's a fucking amazing process. Mate, what's number 2 for you?
Mate, number 2 is something that I've been working on, I mean, probably, well, definitely my whole life, but really getting to the bottom of why it's been an issue and working through it, again, with Pixie and my coach and journaling and all the juicy shit that I've been talking about is, who is Dylan Ruse? Like, who am I? And for me, the reason it's such a big question, or why I've got so much challenge around answering that question, is because I've always been Paul Ruse's son. It's not Dylan. It's not, hey, nice. Let me introduce you to Blake Royal Thompson. It's, let me introduce you to Paul Ruse's son, Dylan Ruse. And that's been my entire life. And the challenging piece around that is, I have no idea who I am. I have no idea who I am away from Paul Ruse's son. So that's sort of my next 3 to 12 months, is stepping away from the family name, and specifically stepping away from my dad, really standing on my own 2 feet, and discovering, like, okay, who am I? What do I want to do today, this year, the next 5 years? What are my values? How do I want to show up? What is going to be my legacy? All of that. And it's been questions that I've been asking myself for so long, but haven't been able to find answers to, or haven't been able to get clarity on. But through really saying, okay, I am intentionally stepping away from you, Dad, and I'll be okay, and I'm going to figure out who I am, has been really big. And I've only done that in the last week, where I had a really amazing conversation with my dad. I read out 6 pages of my journal to him, and he really received that really well, and we had a nice conversation from that. But that's definitely been, a massive challenge, and it will be the next challenge for the next 12 months. That will be that piece.
That can be really challenging. I mean, fucking itself, it's challenging, but there's also doors that get open, and quirks, or or good things that come with being the son of the Messiah as well. So to let go of Messiah Ruse, because it's I want to work out who I am without, but fuck, there's these little doors that can open, and these little opportunities that might arise as well. So you literally can't have your cake and eat it. You're either in Paul Ruse's son, and you've got to take the good and the bad, or you're out, and you can't fucking lean on him to open doors anymore either, which is a really challenging dynamic that must create some dialogue.
Yeah, well, I think I've always been aware, in a small sense, of the cons of being Paul Ruse's son, but I've been hyper aware of the pros. People like to fucking remind you of the pros. They don't like to remind you of the cons, and they don't know the cons. I didn't really know it until I really figured out, again, through doing some internal work, was like, fuck, the reason I can't figure out who I am is because my identity is Paul Ruse's son. Not because I wanted it to be my identity, but because when I was 5 years old and playing footy for the first time, when I was 4 years old and going to kindergarten for the first time, people are like, there's Paul Ruse's son. That's Paul Ruse's son. It's not, you don't get a clean slate. It's not nice to meet you. I have 0 opinions about you. I have all my opinions about you already. And you haven't even said hi yet. And I don't even know your first name, so. And as a kid, you figure out ways to develop an armor around that. Otherwise, you're fucking, you're not going to actually die, but you feel like as a kid, you will die if you don't provide some armor. So you wrap yourself up in the name, you become proud of the name, you figure out whatever ways you can to armor yourself to that. But now that I'm 27, that armor is a cage. That's not protecting me. It's keeping me as a 5-year-old or as a 10-year-old or as a 12-year-old, So it was the awareness of, okay, this is the full extent of the con. or the negative side to it. And again, I don't want to come across like I'm fucking complaining. I am so grateful that my dad is Paul Roos. I would not change that for the world. I love my life. I'm grateful, amazing opportunities. But because of that mindset, I've ignored the cons, and now it's time to go, okay, what are the cons? Cool. I'm aware of them. I don't want the cons anymore. So like what you said, you can't have the pros. You can't have your cake. You can't show up and be like, hey mate, can you introduce me to him and her and open some doors over here and whatever. But also like, just realize I'm my own man, internally that, that that's not what's happening. That like, fuck, I am my own man and I am making my own business and doing my own things. But like internally, it's like, well, would I be successful if that door hadn't opened? Like, would I have been able to open it without him? And so now that's what the next 12 months is. It's going, okay, I'm opening every single fucking door myself. And if I can't open it, I'll go to another door and I'll open that door and I'll fucking, I'm getting to where I need to go and I'm getting to where I need to go by myself. And that piece. And it's not even a case of like, I care what other people think. It's, I care what I think. I don't know. I'm unsure. Could I open that door? I don't know. Have I ever had to open that door myself? Sometimes, maybe not, so that's that process and the challenge.
I think one of the ups.
A book.
You go, Jay.
Which actually could be a good read for you. It's actually around the concept of like, if you're looking at a nightclub, look at a nightclub, right? Majority of people are all lining up at the front, big, massive lineup, right? And then everyone's just lining, and there's a small group of people who are the VIPs that are sort of, they make their way in. And if you can wangle your way in with that group, you sort of get in straight away. And most people look at the nightclub and go, fuck, either I line up or I try to fucking get a VIP friend or whatever to get me in. There's always a third door. And this is when you start thinking creatively. It's like, is there a back kitchen door I can sneak into? Or is there a little window in the, in the toilet? There's only like a small percentage of people who will think creatively and go, there's another way. How can we work through this? And I see this is kind of a process for you now because, you would have been in that, like, I sort of slip into the VIP line here because it's easy because I know the right people. But I'd also argue that this actually, I think, is going to be a huge component of your level of worth and deservedness, right? Because a big fundamental of how worthy you feel you are or how deserving you think you are is based on what you've earned. And if you don't truly believe that you've earned where you are now on your own back, you don't think you're worthy. And so I think that like cutting that cord, earning on your own stripe is in its own right going to be a huge component of developing that level of deservedness. You're like, because at a deeper level, we keep the score. So
yeah, exactly.
Like I didn't actually create that myself. All this stuff was sort of, given to me or I received it because of external factors. And we know that. And that can also lead to a level of, that negative self-talk. So actually, I didn't really do any of that myself. And so this next period of like all on your own, and you know what? Instead of the default, I'll just get dad to give him a call, whatever. It's like, nah, that's fucking done. What do I go next? And you'll see in 12 months time, you'll have earned your stripes. And that there is like, no, I deserve this. And I actually at a deeper level. So I actually think this is going to be a huge component that ties into that self-worth and love piece, which would be really, really cool.
I think the other thing to add to that, Deals, which I know is on the agenda, assuming you get the rites of passage, is it's made harder by the fact that you're in Australia at the moment. For me, like my old man's been in TV for 30 years and is well known in the UK, but no one knows him here. So there's no association. So, if you were to go to America, wherever you might go, like, I mean, he's a big deal and there'll always be some Aussies wherever you go, but it does make it easier to not have that association where, Messiah Roos is the god of Australia and not quite known on the same level in the, the US as well. So I think that element does help you start to pull away from, that identity piece.
Yeah. And it's
funny, but he's getting old. Like, people got to start getting about Paul. Like, who? Like, he's you'll start meeting younger kids. They're like, what are you talking about?
Spot on. I think too, like, there's the you mentioned rites of passage. That's what the next 12 months is. It's a rites of passage, and it's stepping out and doing it, because once I work on this piece and figure it out and come out the other side and have forged myself in the fire, whatever you want to call it, like, I have no fucking issue being like, Dad, fucking help me, you know, like I have no issue. That's not my problem. My problem is I haven't stood on my own. So it's like, cool, I need to fucking stand on my own for a period of time. And then the balance is, you know, the pendulum's kind of swung in the right direction and balance has been restored or whatever, or I've got that self-worth piece that Jay mentioned. And then it's like, cool, yeah, actually, you know, I don't need your help anymore. Like I've now done the last 12 months and I don't need you anymore, Dad, apart from here or there, right? Or it's like, cool, I've done it. I feel fucking amazing. I've succeeded. I've done what I needed to do. Can you introduce me to this person here that you know so that I can take my shit to the next level? Like I have no issue with that. That's not my issue.
Good call. Good call. Mate, what's number 3 for you? Your third and final challenge of 2021?
I've kind of already mentioned it a little bit, but the self-worth piece, just the bit around self-love, that's the big challenge. You know, and the universe keeps showing me things that I can work on and embody better, and you know, new triggers here and there, and you know, I keep coming back to like, how do I want my life to look like when I get to the end? And I think we all are, myself included, we're so afraid of the pain, we're so afraid of the hurt. But the way that I can kind of get through it or move through it or sit in it is because it's like, when I get to the end of my life, I want to be battered, bruised, scarred. I want you to be able to say, yeah, he fucking lived a life. Like, what was that life about? You know, I don't want to get to the end and be like, life was all fucking rainbows and, you know, long green grass and it was amazing. Like, no, I actually do want the fucking highs and the lows, you know, because that's where I'm able to level myself up, is in the lows. I'm able to feel good about myself in the highs, you know, like that's what I actually want. So that's what's allowed me to really wrapping my head around, okay, that's actually what I want. I want this fucking juiciness. Like, give me the fucking healing. Like, let me step in and pay thousands of dollars for a coach that's going to basically tear me down, you know, like, fuck yeah, give me that shit so that I can come back better and serve my clients better and serve momentum better and, you know, enjoy life for all that it has, not just the goodness, you know. So that's how I've managed to just, I guess, show up as my best self, or a good version of myself that I'm proud of, even through the shit that I've been working through. And yeah, it is just that self-worth, self-love piece that's going to be a massive endeavor for me to work on. And you know, I've got amazing people in my life. I've got that are helping me along the way and holding up really nice mirrors to me and challenging me and supporting me when I need to be supported. Like, I've got really good support network. And now just putting my money where my mouth is has been the best decision ever, you know, like, not just preaching about the tools and the knowledge that I have an awareness of, but going, okay, let me implement that into my life right now and see what comes up. And a lot is coming up. So it's good.
Beautiful, mate. It's a big 12 months ahead. Big 12 months ahead. Jay, you're the first of 3 challenges for you from 2021.
So the first one that comes to mind for me has been around my family, and because obviously all my family is based on my oldest friend, and he's got kids and wife. My brothers, you know, I've got one brother. He's got a little boy and he's married, and mum back there and dad's back there and all that kind of thing. And I left 10 years ago and I moved to Sydney, and then now I'm living in Byron, and I've had this pattern was sort of similar to you, Blake, where I got quite involved in like the work and building my businesses and all the rest, and have at times just let that connection kind of go a little bit, you know, and not, and then I've always actually had this internal feeling of almost like guilt for leaving, which is something that I've noticed has come up a few times. And then I've added on top of that a level of responsibility, particularly for how I want to like look after mum and financially. And so that's delivered this like underlying churning and guilt to self because I've left to try to create this life for myself. But also the life that I want to create is going to be one that's going to be also help them and support, particularly like a mum. And that's what I really want to do. And for a period there, I was getting really impatient and frustrated and almost beating up myself that I wasn't there yet. That I've left everyone. I'm going doing my thing. I've seen my little nephew once, and he's almost 2, early next year. So there's that level of A, I've kind of left, but B, I haven't created the life of freedom and abundance yet that allows me to go back in between as much as I want. And so there's been and that put for a little while there, it put a lot of pressure on also me and my business. Like I was like, no, I cannot not have this look a certain way, because if I don't, then I failed. I've left everyone, and I'm doing my own thing, and I've probably not been quite as connected as I would have liked to have been in terms of my communication and effort back. But then on top of that, if I couldn't make it all work, then I was like, well, I've almost feel like I've let myself and them down. It's been a quite an interesting thing to grasp. I only really grasped this year that was what was going on internally. I've always felt this level of sort of guilt for leaving as much, and being the uncle that's never there and the son that's not there. And there've been times when people in my family have gone through struggles, and my little brother's had to take the weight. I haven't been there, and so that's something that's been a challenge for me, and to navigate that balance of this is the life I need to live. This is what I need to be doing for me, and they will then get the best of me by me stepping into whatever they really need to be doing for myself. And so there's a lot of pressures actually come off now that I find I'm like, no, this is, I've sort of give myself permission. I'm like, no, this is what I'm doing. Own it. I love it. And I'll be better for it. So, it's been quite an interesting one. And, sort of a lot of internal sort of dialogue and a level of guilt, and then pressure and frustration and impatience has come up for me. Thinking about that piece with the, my oldest best mate, and then my brother and that kind of thing. So it's been a challenging one that's sitting for a while.
What have you done to move through the guilt and the shame? Those are heavy emotions.
So a big part of it was actually taking, it's not my responsibility. No one else's life is my responsibility, no matter what they're going through suffering. It's not. And this can be really hard, especially if I empathize that people have people in their lives that are suffering. And yes, you can be there and support, but that is not your responsibility, right? Whatever they're experiencing in this life isn't. And to also know that they'll be okay. Whatever they're meant to experience is the way it's meant to be, and they'll be okay. And it was really interesting when I was able to really sit with that and go, yeah, actually, they will be okay. And this isn't my job. Don't, forget about them and, totally get absorbed in my own world. But to release that off my shoulders felt really good, to actually just say to myself, no, actually, it's not responsibility. I haven't left. This is my calling and my life that I'm creating for myself. And so that was a really big piece of it there. And then to also look at it and go, well, if I were to be back there right now, I'd be resentful. I'd be unproductive. I'd be unhappy, because that environment, as much as I love my friends and family in Adelaide, etc., is not where I want to be. And the life I've created here is absolutely amazing. And I'm in a process of creating something bigger and better. And as a byproduct of that, they're going to get a lot more love and a lot better, maybe not as consistent and regular, me just being there all the time, but when they get me, they're going to get more and the better of me. So there were two big pieces that I sort of went through to help take the edge out of it.
What drives that need or desire to take responsibility for other people's lives or their reactions to how you're living your life? Because I really resonate with that. Oh fuck, I need to live my life a certain way so I don't step on people's toes, or I need to take care of them, or they're not, sometimes it's even they're not strong enough to handle the truth even, so let me sugarcoat the truth because they're not able to. What drives it for you? Because I know, or I think for me, it's driven by I don't want to hurt people and I don't want to be a bad person, you know? So what, do you have awareness around what drives your behavior in that?
Well, there's a few pieces to it. One is around me historically wanting to please people and always be the guy that everyone likes. So, and this was something that I also went through when I started, shifting my industry and what I was doing, and friendships started to move away, and to be okay with the fact that I'm not going to please everyone. So, in the past, I also had struggled with feeling like I was worthy. And part of that was then me overstepping my own boundaries to make sure I was pleasing people. So that's one big piece of it, that I was like, there was that level of people pleasing and lack of solid boundaries there. And then another part was almost a level, and this is more, I guess, tied into how I want to look after, in particular, like my mum, is I don't feel she's ever really fully felt free and be able to enjoy life to an extent. And there are some things that I feel that and there's been a level of frustration that I haven't been able to help with that, because obviously, I'm surrounded by people who coach people, work with people, and obviously I do my things, and there's been a little frustration around, like, fuck, I haven't, she hasn't found a way out of this yet. And I know how much she loves me, and family is such a huge thing for her. So for me, there's almost a drive around, like, all right, I need to almost repay the favor and get back, and okay, I'm going to give this back because I need to be able to help her, and whether it's financially or what. So that was another big driver with me, was almost that level of feeling the need to repay the effort she's put in for me, because I know she's put in, always put us first and put us and work like an ass off, and gone through a lot of struggle on her own to provide a life for me and my brother. And so I always am like, just don't forget, because I have in the past been quite self-absorbed and caught up in my own world, especially when I was in my party days. I didn't give a fuck about anyone else, and I'd forgotten the people that I loved. And so that kind of scares me as well, that also, like, when I do move on and do my thing, that I could get down that rabbit hole again. So I'm like, no, make sure you're fucking providing or doing something in some kind of way. So there's a few different layers now that I've sort of delved into it, but the sting is out of it a lot now, which makes it a lot easier to really do what I want to do.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, mate.
Share.
Love it. Challenge number 2.
The second one has been around something that I'm working on right at the minute, is around, I'm doing my feminine and masculine collapse, and my stuff around relationships and how I view relationships and who I call in. And it's been it's a doozy. It's a big one. And I haven't quite got to the bottom of it yet, but the basic challenge is that I've realized one part of it for me is that I'm not great at receiving or actually giving proper unconditional love. I haven't been open to that. Part of that has been around protection of self, around fear of rejection. So if I do fully open, it opens me up to be, seen for who I truly am. And then I'm doing some work on it now. My true belief is that I won't get chosen, which is a big one. So when what that's played out like is me calling in people that are unavailable. That's been a big consistent theme for me. They're either moving soon or live in another, state, or there's a level of protection there for me, or, they're kind of they're coming out of something messy, or they're kind of, they're with someone else. It's just been a theme. And so that's the level I was like, what the fuck? It didn't make sense to me. I was like, why, what is going on here? And there was also a level of, I guess, protection going on there. And another piece of it is heavily around the way I view what a relationship is. And what I came to realize is that I don't have many good things to say about a relationship. when I think about what a relationship is, and freedom being one of my highest values, if I like were to define a relationship for you, I mean, for me, it's like you get married, you have kids, you get a dog, you go live in the suburbs somewhere so you can afford the house and the mortgage, and then you got to work your ass off, and you come home and cook dinner and bath the kids and blah, blah. And I was like, that makes me fucking feel sick, you know. And that there's no, I don't see that. I don't think that there's no love and passion. You come home, you're too tired to have sex because you had a fucking big day, and you know you get the next day, you go through the motions again. You have another kid, and then you blah blah. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking wake up after, you know. And then even like every morning school drop offs, and then the Saturdays there's sport here, and Sunday like that. For me, I've got this all, and I had these negative connotations to that's what a relationship leads to. Look how far I've already gone there. I'm already fucking 5 or 10 years down the track, and that means I can't travel and be free and crack my business and blah blah. And so, and that came from growing up what I saw relationships to be. Most relationships that I saw were just this kind of agreement that you had, and you the jokes. You'd always hear the jokes. Oh, don't do it. Wait to have kids. Yeah. Like that is
the ball and chain,
right? And a lot of friends also joke as well. Like, got to check with the missus. You know, I can't because the fucking like that kind of shit, right? And if that's all I've seen, that scares me. And so I've also had this. You're out there, Blakey. Like you got some shit.
Yeah, I think Blakey's a little bit triggered too.
This is making me so anxious.
Right. And so that's been my idea of what a relationship is. No fucking wonder I'm sabotaging myself. If that's what I think a relationship is, it goes against, like, I'm not saying it goes against like wanting to have a family or, you know, have love and have kids and that part of, you know, that's actually now something I'm more open to and softening towards. I'm like, you know what, that could be something that definitely can be part of my life now. But for a long time, that's not how I saw a relationship. So I really started to try to shift and like, well, a relationship, if you find the right person, is all about expansion and adventure and growth and partnership and excitement, you know, and creating a life together. And that's also what a relationship can look like. There are plenty of representations of that out in the world. And so I've really opened up my lens to this is what it also can be. So that's starting to really shift, because if you know what my true belief around what a relationship is, it was so against anything that I wanted and what I believe and stand for. I was never going to let myself really be in for that. So there's a lot of different parts to that one. And so recently I've done a full like feminine collapse in terms of all my old, you call it mummy issues, you know, stuff that I've picked up from the past in terms of what I, you know, view relationships, even how I view the feminine, and the fact that I, you know, do I really see them as these powerful beings in themselves, or do I feel the need to save and protect and take that burden on as well, which is something else that's there, right? Because that's what sort of it seems to be. So this is a fucking multi-layered thing. And next we go to the masculine collapse, which is obviously around the father stuff. So that's level 2. So that's been a really challenging one for me. And it's only recently I'm starting to get my head around the whys, which is really cool. But for the last sort of 12, 18 months, I've been like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what's this pattern? And I couldn't get my head around it. And that was a representation of my world. And obviously, Blake, you've seen it, and you've got a bit of a taste of the tail end of of what's been playing out. But that's been a big one.
What does that look like now? I know for the three of us, what we are interested in terms of a relationship means that we're interested in a very small pool of women, and the more work we do, the smaller the pool gets in terms of the type of relationship we want and the type of women we want to attract in. And fucking God bless, I've been lucky with that process. But what does that look like? Because I know for me and for Dills as well, what we, obviously Dills' recent relationship, what we have now and what we desire is so different from what I was attracted to or interested in 2, 3, 4, like completely different. So what does that look like now from maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago for you?
I mean, it'd be quite simply put, if you were to ask me what I was into, years ago, it was all superficial, right? Mm. It was not really about levels of who they are as human beings. And so it was all pretty externally based on if I had this vision of this ideal, it also probably tend to, align to this fantasy that I also probably believed wasn't actually doable. So I kept myself kind of protected there as well. And a big part of it really, also I would have back then also said yes to a lot of things that I knew weren't, in alignment. And so, now it looks like, actually, funnily enough, focusing more on me and owning my own shit and owning my own quirks and my bits and pieces, and just because it used to be a lot of like putting up a front of what I felt like I should show up as, especially in Sydney. There's a certain scene.
Yeah.
Show up as. Now, if I'm showing up that way, that's not me. So obviously I'm calling in people who, when they then get to know me, it's like, oh, this is not quite what I saw as the front here. And so it's kind of like false advertising, it's like, well, actually, that's not really what I want. And so there I'm like, well, fuck, then I'm getting rejected or not liked. It's like, no, because what you're putting out was calling in the wrong false advertising, right? So now it's more around like advertising me for who I am, for exactly what I am, and focusing less externally, and knowing that like I will magnetize and call in that which the energy that I'm embodying in myself. And then when they do get called in, there's not like, oh, that's not what I first thought. It's like, oh yeah, that's what you came across as. So it's more around just like embodying more of me, and knowing that, not trying to go out and get, it's like it'll come. Like we'll call in and become magnetic when we truly embody more holistically all parts of us. So it's also shifted. And even like when people say like, what's your type? I can't answer that. I can answer maybe some basic characteristics in terms of what I value in a relationship, but even to that extent, I can have different values to a girl that I call in, as long as we understand them and respect them. So there's a lot more depth now, and like obviously, we might send her the old BDSM test and a few other little personality tests to get a bit.
I would. I think that's the best way to go about things.
That's actually how you should determine all relationships.
Yeah. So I've got 3 tests you to do. I'm going to send these out to you. Take the time, send them back, and we'll go from there.
Do you like wearing Batman masks? It's interesting to your point around showing up authentically and getting caught up in the Sydney crowd and showing up authentically. What I found too is when you do that, when you show up in a way that you think you need to show up, it doesn't matter how much that other person loves you, how much that other person gets along with you. You're sitting there going, well, they love the inauthentic version of me. They love the front that I put up. So I'm not able to receive that love because it feels fake, because it's not real, because it's not who I am. And you're loving this persona. And so you can't actually soften into that relationship and open up further, because you're like, well, if I do, then that love's going to be gone, because the only reason I've gotten this far is because of this person that I've pretended to be, and showing up authentically is so tricky, hard, difficult, but necessary for a successful relationship.
Yeah. Well, the practice now is part of this is like open this little baby and open it with the awareness that things might not play out or work out, and that's okay. That's not a personal reflection of me being not good enough. This wasn't a match, and to still have to keep it open. Like, keep it open. It's not a match meant for me. And this is, that hindsight window which I talk about trying to close. Like, I look back now at the time that things didn't work out. At the time, fucking cut me. Now looking back, thank fuck. Right? Every time.
Preach.
Right? You look at the time, you're like, oh my God, like I've lost this thing, or it didn't work out. This is what I wanted and needed. This is how it should have been. And now you look back, you're like, oh no, that opened up a whole new door of things. Yeah. So now it's like, keep the heart open and know that if things don't play out, it wasn't a match. Yeah. It's not because I am XYZ and there's something better coming next, which has also shifted it for me. So I get a lot less attached to things being a certain way.
Is it a lack of trust in the feminine, or is it a lack of faith that you'll be okay if you do get hurt?
Well, as in that was part of the barrier to me.
Like, yeah. So you mentioned that opening up and being more vulnerable and actually like saying, hey, here it is, because of that fear of getting hurt? Is it the fear of getting hurt because you don't think you'll be okay if you do get hurt? Or is it like you don't want to open up because I think I'm going to get hurt because I don't trust the feminine. I don't trust them to hold that space for my heart to open?
Well, there was a few pieces to it. One is around, there are some underlying fears of how worthy I actually am. And if I open up my heart and I don't get chosen, my fears come true. Oh, fuck, maybe that's right. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not attractive enough. Maybe I'm not tall enough. Whatever the fuck it is. All that stuff gets reinforced. There was a fear around, maybe these fears aren't true, but if I keep a little level of wall there, I can keep this, they're maybe not totally true about myself. There's the fear around, if I do open, that all these, underlying, we always have this negative fucking self-chat about our, darkest little bits about us. What if they get seen? And what if this is true, that I'm this fucking ugly, shitty, unworthy, I believe that is to be true. So there was a level of that, but also there was a level of, there was actually a lack of distrust in the feminine, in their ability to like truly love and hold me as well. So it was like, trust that that they would actually want something different, and also this stemmed from, I remember, it stems from like years ago as well, where a lot of my validation in life was not based around how I was as a human being. It was what I could do. Like, I was good at sport, and then in high school I was reasonably attractive, and so it was the doing, right? It was all the external shit, and so there was no validation there on how I was as a human being. And so there's also a fear there. That's what women actually want. Feminine. They don't actually want a human being of a guy who is maybe, can be a bit sensitive and soft as well, and that kind of thing. There was a fear around, that's actually what they want. So I want to show that part of me. So that's a level to it as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. As you're talking, I think it's important to know that the human experience is so common. Like, when you really boil it down to simple, like, we all just want to be loved. There's this idea that men especially don't feel, or they don't have these things going on, and they just want to fuck, and they're shallow, and they're toxic masculinity and this and that, right? And it's like, nah, like, men are hurting, like, men are in pain, and we have, it is by far one of the best things about Momentum is the safe space we create for these men who are in pain to heal in a place surrounded by other men who are also in pain and also healing. Like, men are in fucking pain, and it's why it jacks me up so much when people start to demonize the masculine or demonize men. It's like, we're just in fucking pain, and we've got really poor coping mechanisms to deal with it. And once you start to like unravel the layers that we're starting to unravel and talk about it, like, we all want love, and we've all got these like things that we're working through, and we're all in pain, and we're all trying our best with the knowledge that we've got and the tools that we've got. And I just want to acknowledge like both of you for sharing. Jay, you've got one more share, so don't worry, I haven't done that again and forgotten that you've got a third one. But just wanted to acknowledge like how awesome it's been for us to hold containers for each other to do the work, and hold containers for each other to heal, because it's allowing us to hold containers for the men that we work with and help them heal. And it's a fucking beautiful fucking thing to see. Like, I fucking love it. It's just so fucking juicy and beautiful to see.
And also it's fucking ugly at the same time as well. And like, at no point do we ever want people to believe, albeit the three of us have had our best year, at no point do we ever want anyone to believe that we've got it all sorted. Do you know what I mean? Fuck, there's some ugly shit going on behind the scenes, and we're pretty forthcoming in talking about it. But, as with social media and all the bullshit that people see, it's easy to be, under the illusion that everything's kind of shiny and pretty glossy. And like, again, the fact we've had our best year, there has been a lot of shininess this year. And even in our shiniest of all years, there's still some heavy, grubby shit going on as well.
I would argue that a big piece of that, like, even I'd argue that, again, this would be one of my best years, even though the stuff that's gone on. And I'll speak on probably behalf of all three of us, but particularly for me, a big part of the reason is because of what we have, right? If we didn't have each other as network and the people got around us to go through the stuff we've been through, I know I would be where I am right now. No fucking chance. I always thought I'd be all right by myself. Like, no, I'll get through it. Now having like you boys have got my back, you know, I've seen, I remember Blake, you know, when you were fucking anxious and vomiting because you're fucking going through a shit, like I'm at rock bottom, you know, rocking on the couch in the cabin, so I can't give this. We've been at rock bottom and have seen it and felt it, but then having, you know, people around you that love you and that aren't here to judge you and that'll fucking listen and advise if you want. And that is a fucking powerful thing to be a part of. And that's what really has been one of the biggest catalysts to me being in the position mentally that I am right now.
Yeah, spot on. And I would say another big part is the reason we've had the best years is because we've been willing to go through the shit. You know, at least for me personally, the only reason I've had my best year to date is because the polarity or the opposite of it was I was doing, or we've all been doing like the fucking shitty work that no one wants to do, you know, like at times I don't want to do it, you know, like it is fucking, you know, I use the term beautiful, but it's beautiful, but it's fucking ugly, like Blake said, you know, it's that beauty in the ugliness.
Yeah,
Jay, give us one more beauty in the ugliness for us.
The other one, which ties a little bit, I suppose, into one of the things of the parts of the first challenge I had was around me and my boundaries. So both within business, both in relationships. And what I mean by that is that, for example, in momentum, there were periods there where, you know, there was a lot going on for momentum and I would take a bit on, but then I would let my business suffer because I was more worried about not upsetting or just, you know, annoying or letting shit fall apart with you boys in momentum. But as a byproduct of that, my business was suffering. And so I had to but then I would look around and see the opposite happen with you guys, where, you know, I'd see Blake and you'd put your business first before momentum at a situation. I'd be like, and I'd get fucking fuming about it. It was my own shit. Like, you know what I mean? Because I was like, well, I've got to get clear on my fucking boundaries here. Like, what does the balance look like? And so it was a big struggle there for a while where I was taking on too much and putting too much momentum first, for example, and my business suffered as a byproduct of that. And that sort of boundary piece then also, and that balance, like trying to find the balance, wake up in the morning and be like, all right, what do I choose? Where do I fucking fit this in? And then that also, you know, that boundary stuff also plays into how I'd show up in relationships and things like that, where, you know, that was that me shifting away from being that kind of the nice guy. Like I swayed from, you know, years ago being not the nice guy at all, and very much like probably too much me first and doing my own way, and then swung the opposite way to being like the nice guy, the people pleaser, doing too much for everyone else and not putting myself first. By doing that, allowing myself to be treated in certain ways, and then also develop resentment and put myself under pressure because of that lack of ability to set solid boundaries. That's something that was in the last sort of 18 months has also been a really big challenge and highlight, but also kind of a cool win and lesson in the back end. So that's probably been another big one in the two main areas around, okay, what are my clear fucking boundaries in both business, relationships, you know, friendships, as opposed to always needing sort of over giving or allowing myself just to be there for others.
And it's a super challenging thing. And I think, you know, the three of us cross paths with a lot of women, and in my coaching, which is probably more so women, and obviously now, Jay, you moving into that as well. It's, I think, probably one of the top 3 or 4 most common themes for women in particular, but definitely not exclusive to them. irony is that you put yourself out, then you get resentful for people that are taking advantage of your lack of boundaries that you didn't implement in the first place. It's just this fucking vicious cycle. So what does that look like? Because we spent plenty of time together and we could see the resentment that was kind of building up from the lack of boundaries that you hadn't implemented. But what does that look like? I think probably, to be fair, it's probably the last 3 months that you found that better balance. What does that process look like? What's the inner dialogue, and where do the boundaries start to come into play?
Well, one of the simple piece around it is like just getting better at saying no, and knowing that because you say no to something or you can't do this doesn't mean people are going to think less of you, right? Or suddenly not like you. That's just a really simple one. So this, like, if I say no, or if I challenge, or can't do this thing, they'll think less of me, and or maybe not want to hang out with me next time, or whatever it could be. So that was a really big piece in it. And then the other one is to really to sit with myself and look at, like, say for example with the business balance, like what actually really feels like, if I do this thing, does that feel right? Like at a deeper level. No, you should be fucking doing that. You should like send it over there or whatever, and really tapping into that like feeling. Because as soon as they're like, when are you doing this resentment right now? Are you doing it almost like as a fuck's sake? Or if there's any kind of that feeling in it, then I'm like, end it, hold, prioritize. So there are a couple of big ones as to tapping into how it really feels. We're always making decisions in one of two pillars. Is it that love and expansion, or is it that fear base, and tapping into what would I do if I was totally confident and solid? Who would I be? Would I be showing up as if I was this man who had solid boundaries and knew who he was and knew what he stood for and knew it was okay? What would he do right now? And I'd be like, I know exactly what he'd do. And just tapping into that more often, and it feels fucking empowering. Like I feel solid at the moment, which is really, really cool. But that's been years of battle, to be honest with that. And the first part of it was an unaware battle, right? The second part was some awareness around it. It's like, well, now what? And so yeah, they're probably a couple of the key pieces that I've stepped into, which has really helped to shift that.
Do you know who you're speaking to in that moment? Like which part of you are you speaking to? Is that you speaking to authentic Janoah? Is that you speaking to like the warrior archetype or the king archetype? Like, is there an energy that you associate with that? Or even if you look into some of Scott Herman's work on the alter ego effect, right? Like
Todd
Herman. Is that like a role model that you look up to and you're tapping into their energy, or like what is that place that you're able to tap into?
Mate, it's kind of a combination, to be honest. So there is a level of like role model and identity that I'm talking to there. It's like, okay, who do I want to really step into being, right? And how would this person behave? So I've got this like almost this visual of this identity, this human being that I am, and tapping into that, and what is this human being? How do they behave? What do they do? What are the decisions they make? And like I've created this kind of identity of the man that I want to be and step into. So it's more around that piece that I talk to or allow to speak. Like what would he do? I know what he'd do. And that keeps me also in alignment, because every time I step out of that, there's a level of like to self, like of integrity to who I want to become, who I want to be. But then like, oh, you fucking that eats away again at my worth self, because I let myself get thrown off.
Thank you very much for sharing, Jay. Boys, what an unbelievably raw and honest and vulnerable conversation between three business partners, but more importantly, three best mates. I think a good way to end this podcast, and it might put you guys on a little bit of a quick thinking, but I think we should end it on what is your intention for the next 12 months? What is your one intention going into 2022? That in a year's time, when we come back, we can look back and go, okay, how did Blake, Janoah, Dylan uphold their intention. And I've kind of got an idea of what mine is, so I can go first as you guys think. And my intention 2022 is to lean in to everything. So lean in to the uncomfortableness, lean into the work. And for me next year, I feel like this year was about proving myself financially. Okay, cool, I can make money. Great. I think for the next year, it's going to be about, okay, cool, I can make money by myself, but with more of an emphasis on doing more of the internal work, building a really solid foundation next year and embodying a lot of what I talk about. So my intention for next year is leaning in and stepping in rather than being fearful or stepping out. Blake, go ahead, brother.
Mine is probably, there'd be a couple of layers to it, but the first is very much around the work that I'm doing now. And by the time this is released, I will be balls deep, hopefully in it, if not out the other side. But it's very much around less noise and more impact, which is one of our 4 values. And being able to move through some of the way I show up on social media in particular. It's not as much of a problem in person, but it's more social media. So how do I have a bigger and a deeper impact on every person I cross paths with without kind of the noisy carry on that often is happening on social media? So that would be one. And then the second one would be just to love deeper and harder and to allow myself to be more seen on a deeper level than, the way that I show up at the moment.
That's beautiful.
Solid.
Thanks, mate.
A big intention for me for the next period is, one piece of it is to continuously just open and open and open. And part of that also comes with, I love this term around being magnetic, and to really like more powerfully step into like me and my fucking quirks and all my bits and pieces. Because when you look at them, some of the most like charismatic and people that you're attracted to, they're the ones who don't give a fuck about anyone. They talk about this and they do this and they blah blah, and so that's intention for me, is to step more heavily into, I guess that, we touched on a bit before around that authentic me. What does that look like, and how can I show more of that? So I think I want to create a life where I'm just magnetizing shit in people, experiences, wealth, business, and that comes from just unlocking all what's going on here in however that fucking looks. So that's an interesting one, and that's going to be a big intention for me for the next bit.
I've got a spare Batman mask, mate. If you ever want to like step into that kind of quirk in that area as well, you just let me know.
Fuck it, send it over. Give it a clean first, and then send it over.
All right. Well, boys, thank you very much for this conversation. Gentlemen, until next time.
Peace.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in this week. As always, if you enjoyed listening, please leave a review, give us a shout out across socials, or share with a friend so that we can continue to share these incredible conversations with more and more people.